Today we're talking new Dragon Age updates, a Call of Duty transphobic wannabe controversy, a Killer Klowns game review, plus more top headlines of the week. And if that isn't enough, we're revealing our favorite mindless games to play after a long day of work. Welcome, friends, to this week's episode of Good Playing With You, the weekly gaming podcast. I'm Dan Whitehill, and as always, I'm joined by our good playing good buddies, Matt Lord.
Hey, how's it going?
And Matt Molding.
Hey now.
We've got a packed show, but before we dive in, let's check in with my faction of Matts and find out what everyone's been playing this week. Lord?
Helldivers 2. Whew.
Wait, didn't you just say you were over that one?
I was
You totally did.
panning it last week, but I'm back. I'm with the same crew, and still, actually, it was a good time this week. We were missing our fourth. We had a rando fill in who was just like god tier. He was so good. The dude, the stats, we come back to the ship, he had like max kills, max accuracy, just carrying us in the fanny pack. So actually it was pretty cool getting back in there and kind of mixing it up. We made a bunch of Waterboy jokes, which was kind of funny, hilarious. Gosh, love Waterboy. And then we actually got hooked up with a Steam key and for a game called Brigand Ozaka. And I have been actually playing it. Really cool, very throwback shooter vibes. It's actually kind of awesome, and it's like post-apocalyptic first-person shooter. It's a definitely a difficult game, but I just want to throw it out there because I'll be talking more about that one when I get my hands on it more and play it more.
Yeah, you gotta love when users or when listeners of the show send in Steam keys so we review their content. That's good stuff. I couldn't encourage that more.
Yeah, more of that.
Yeah, I know. I agree. I was really stoked, really pumped to get my hands on it and check it out. I thought it was really cool, and I gotta say, like, it's definitely a solid game.
Do some game cap for us so we can roll it as B-roll.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely like it's set in Mexico. And you're kind of waking up in a prison cell trying to figure out what's going on here. You're talking or you're like asking around, like, what's going on? Like, what can I help with? You get a bunch of quests. And basically what goes on is you kind of go out from this, like, you're in like a banana plantation starting out, and you get just kind of, there's like, well, okay, let me set this too. There's so many different like factions that you can go into and like chat up, and there's a lot of skill trees going on. But
well, I look forward to seeing your footage.
Oh, yes. Oh, you're right.
Send it sometime.
Absolutely. I'll cap some. You're right. I was kind of breaking it down a little further than what I needed to.
It's all good.
Anyway, besides that, I also had mentioned that I've been doing a little Ambernick gaming, and this is the device right here. And
looks like the Game Boy SP.
Exactly. It's a Game Boy SP clone. For all the audio listeners out there, you know, it has the clamshell look to it. This one has a fun, like, throwback SNES type of look.
And so can you import your own ROMs? Did that come with ROMs? What's that?
It comes with ROMs, and you can also import the SD card that comes with these Ambernick devices are notoriously trash, so they recommend for you to go out, get a new SD card. You can download the OS from their website, and then you can load in all your own stuff, and you just have like a better SD card available to you. I think it's so awesome. There's all these different OSs you can mess with. I just love tinkering. Anymore, I'm just like, just give me something to tinker with. I'm like stoked just to do that.
We should start making side videos of just all of your emulators and how-tos.
I know. Honestly, great idea. I would be super
forget
down.
Raising a child. You need to focus on the podcast.
Exactly.
I gotta say, like, the child has come, and then it was like my love for like tinkering and messing around has like somehow like expanded.
Messing around how you got a child?
Yeah. Isn't that raising a kid? Tinkering and messing around?
Yeah, that must be it. It's just like we gotta like figure this stuff out. Like, let's go. So anyway, that's been my week.
Nice. Molding?
So I started with Lords of the Fallen, which just came out on Game Pass this week or late last week. And I just wasn't in the mood for what it was giving, unfortunately. It is a Soulsborne-esque sort of game, but it's involved a lot of thinking, a lot of like transferring essences,
thinking.
between like two different dimensions, and like to get past one era, you had to go into the other dimension, and I just, after about 30 minutes of it, was just too much thinking. I was not in the mood for it. But it's a very pretty game, and I highly recommend you trying it out if a Soulsborne type game is in your bag. But
That's
the
Game
majority
Pass,
of
yeah.
that is Game Pass. Yeah, it came out.
That's sweet.
I think
I
on
need to check that
Friday,
out, too.
possibly. But the main game I played this week is, and I can't wait to hear what you guys talk about or think about it. Right behind you, Lord, is Final Fantasy 16, and that is what I put a lot of time in. And let me tell you the good things first. Good things is it's absolutely gorgeous. It is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful game. The animation's great. Faces are great. Voiceover work is fantastic. The guy who plays Clive is Ralph Ineson, I think is his name, who's a professional actor. I mean, they're all professional actors.
Yeah, he's from The Witch.
He's from the Vivitch. Yes,
The
the
Vivitch.
Vivitch.
The Vivitch is the guy.
He has his voice is just incredible and just translates incredibly to a video game. And Sid is very sexy. I should have put him on my sexiest video game characters list. And then the voice actor for Clive is this guy Ben Starr, who has a porn star name, and he completely looks like a porn star. Like, he is a extremely handsome man in real life, and his voice is fantastic too. Okay, so those are the good things. Here are the bad things. It is with pockets of super exciting things, big battles between big monsters you're controlling, really awesome fun, is divided by some of the most boring gameplay I have ever done in my life on a video game. It is so boring. Everything is a cutscene, and I did a little like experiment just to be during this quest line. How many cutscenes are they going to give me before I do something? And it was 8 cutscenes. It was talk to this person, cutscene, about 3 minutes. Oh, okay, you're done. Now go over here, literally walk to another building, talk to a person, new cutscene, 3-4 minutes cutscene. Go to another person, everything was a cutscene, and it was driving me bonkers. I thought I was going insane.
This is the medieval one, right?
This is yes, correct. This is
I said the same thing to you guys when I played it like a month ago. I was like, most games like are cutscenes are a treat, and you get them every once in a while. This one was like a movie, and occasionally I got to play a game.
That's exactly exactly what it's like.
And I was like, is Final Fantasy always like this? Because I don't know.
I don't remember it always being like this. I don't remember like every quest giver a 3.5 minute cutscene of them talking. It used to be in these RPGs and in some other ones where you could at least read it. Like we just like read what they have to say, read it real quick. All right, go on with your life. This is them putting you in a cutscene, and it's painful. I don't know if I can continue with it. And then the other complaint I have is when you're traveling around the world fighting little monsters during these times when you're not in a cutscene and you're doing these fights, you'll see like an item out in the distance, and it's like, oh, it's a crafting item, which at the very beginning is great because you're like, I'm collecting all these crafting items. No joke, I've played this game 24 hours, maybe 30 hours, and I have not done any crafting. So I don't know if I'm not there yet or I'm missing something. Like, there is a blacksmith to do crafting at to upgrade your weapons. I have like 300 of these sharp fangs that I'm going out of my way to see little glints in the distance, going and running and picking it up, and it's like, oh, a sharp fang. I have 300 sharp fangs. I've never even used them. I don't know what they're giving me. So if you're gonna do like crafting materials, have a robust crafting system. Don't have me running around collecting stuff that's just busy work. It feels
I
very
remember
busy.
like crafting some stuff at like the main town hub.
Not me.
Where you get some things. You like
get
basic
like a new
stuff.
you get like a new weapon, and then you craft it up to like +1.
Mm-hmm.
But then, like, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours into the game, maybe 5 or 6 hours into the game, you get a weapon that's so far above anything else that you've been crafting, and you don't even craft that. You don't even make it better. You just have that for another like 4. It was really frustrating. Going out of my way to collect another shark fang was driving me also nuts. Anyway, so beautiful game. I just don't know if I can continue playing it. Lord, did you play through the whole thing?
No. I played about 20 hours and I kind of maxed out. I think I kind of liked the cutscenes. I think the voice acting was really nice.
Cutscenes are great. There's just too many of them.
But there was a lot. And the graphics were stellar. It's just I think I just maxed. Yeah.
Anything else, Molden?
Yeah. Nope. Diablo, I lost another hardcore character, 80 some level 80 something. And that one what I was like, okay, I'm going to put this game down for a bit and play so I also, a couple games came out on Game Pass, another Square Enix game, Octopath Traveler 2, started playing that. We'll play more this week. And then I also bought Mad Max based on your suggestion last week. Mad Max I had played before, but I'm going to play it again. I bought it for $5. So
perfect price.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Perfect.
Good job.
Yeah. What about you,
job.
Dan? What have you been playing? Thank you.
I've been playing a lot of Fortnite. I dipped back into we've got a new season, so I've been doing that. And then, of course, I've been dipping into the Lego part of it just because that actually gives you Battle Pass progress as well. And they just added vehicles, and it's kind of a chill, laid-back game, except that my vehicles keep going through the ground, so it's pissing me off a little bit. I might be out on that one. We'll see. But the main thing that I've been spending a lot of my time with is Killer Klowns from Outer Space. So I've been waiting for this one as the asymmetrical multiplayer fiend that I am, and it finally released. I guess this was the early access period, and it officially comes out this Friday. But it's definitely fun. I wanted to do kind of like a mini review on Killer Klowns from Outer Space for anyone who might be interested in that multiplayer game. Except for Matt Molding, because I know you, and this would not interest you whatsoever.
No, but wait. I've been really chomping at the bit, wanting to talk to you about this game. So I'm glad we can do it on the pod.
For sure, definitely. So the base price is $40. For $60, you get a couple more teenagers and skins. But to be honest with you, I don't think you'll need it if you're truly interested in this game. There's a lot of cosmetics and things to unlock through progression and the XP system in it. But essentially, it is 3 clowns and 7 humans. So it's 10 players in a match. The 7 humans are teenagers running around trying to escape the invasion of the clowns, and you can do it multiple ways, whether it's like on a boat, across a bridge, through a vortex, in a bunker, etc., etc. And then the clowns, you're running around in different clown suits with different powers, and you've got these guns, and you're trying to shoot them and make them into these like clown bulbs that you can hang on these hangers, and they have 4 hangers. And when that happens, you kind of level up your game, and you get little minions that you send out in the world that can help you find these teenagers. Or you can do a clownality and just wipe them out and take them out of the game. But if you take them out of the game, there's a revive van, essentially like Fortnite, where a player can use the revive van only one time in a match. So please make sure noobs don't use it right away. You got to wait for more people to get killed off. And then it brings everybody back. And you really want to wait a little bit to understand the clown strategy. Are they hanging us up on these clown hooks? In which case you can go get people and take them off the hook. Or are they murdering us outright? You want to let them murder a few people, get some progress on your escape, and then go and do the complete revive so you can bring everybody back. Kind of got to understand what the clowns are going for, because each team has like a different sort of strategy. But for the most part, it's fun. I mean, it's pretty, what you see is what you get. There's only like, I think 3 maps right now. And it's made by Ilphonic, the same developer of Friday the 13th, and a lot of Friday the 13th's DNA, for better or worse, is in this game. I think it's better because I'm such a huge fan of that game. And a lot of people complain or just comment that the game, the win or loss, is based on a lot of the time on, well, map knowledge, weapon knowledge, that sort of stuff, but also RNG. So sometimes you're opening up drawers, you're getting really good weapons, you get the shotgun, you get the knife, you're set. Sometimes you open up a drawer and you get a bunch of baseballs and you're effed. So it really depends on what you're getting out of there, as well as, if you get murdered, then you're kind of waiting to be revived, and they give you mini games, which is really fun. This is a really good idea. So as someone who's dead, you get to play mini games, and it might be like a memory sort of thing, or a matching sort of thing, or a ball tossing sort of thing. They're really carnival games, because keeping with the clown theme. If you do your mini game well enough, you get weapons that you can either A, keep in your inventory for when you revive, if you're revived, or B, you can click around on your controller and see different people's views. So you can see them being chased, you can see them trying to escape, you can see what they're up to. And you might get an item like a knife or a gun that they could really use in a tight spot. So then you can give that item to them instantly. So in late game, you can be running away and you can be hounded by clowns, and all of a sudden in your inventory just appears a shotgun from someone who's viewing you, watching you, and trying to help you by using these mini games. So it's fantastic when that happens. Not enough people play the mini games, if you ask me, because they do get a little old with only 3 of them being in there. But hopefully upon full release this weekend, or maybe shortly thereafter, they're going to have a few more. But it's a really brilliant idea to keep you engaged when you're waiting for your friends to get, either escape or finish the game. And
I heard
after,
there's sorry. I heard that there's one thing to that, like you could get the shotgun, and if you get respawned, you can have it, and that could help you. Is that also a thing?
Yep. Or you can give it to somebody else, because I
love that.
If one of the last people is being chased down, you want to give them the shotgun so that they can defend themselves, so they can respawn you. So it's like a strategy sort of thing. So yeah, it's really smart, really fun. The matches only last 20 minutes, which is the perfect length for these like asymmetrical fun little party games like this. And then at the end, either the clowns get enough hooks that they bring on the clown apocalypse, or the clown apocalypse is going to happen either way. But then if they get enough hooks, there's no rescue van. But if they don't, which normally, there will be a rescue van. And what you want to do is you want to run to the center of the map right at the last minute. So you're always, because the rescue van is going to be on one of the sides, and you don't want to be far away from it. And then you just have to book it, and the clowns try and body block you. And I've had some narrow escapes that have been truly fun. But yeah, that's essentially, on a scale of 1 to 10, I would say a solid 7.5, maybe 8. The problem with these games, though, is that the shine wears off really quickly. I love Ilphonic. I play a lot of their games. I've played a lot of asymmetrical multiplayer games, but these are not live service games. They typically support these things for maybe a year or a little bit more, and then that's it. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, we're also seeing, has been handed off to another developer who introduced another map, and that was about it. And I expect the same thing to happen here. Maybe some new maps, maybe a new, survivor and some skins, but that's it. So
yeah,
we'll see where it goes.
It seems like Dead by Daylight's the only one that has really persisted, right? Because there was the Army of Darkness one. That one failed.
But that wasn't we didn't want that one to stay around.
and the Ghostbuster one too, right?
Yeah.
Didn't that one go? So do you see this is better than those?
Yes, great question.
Yes. Okay.
In the pantheon of asymmetrical multiplayer games, for sure. But this is not a horror game. There's nothing scary about this. So just people know it's more silly, slapstick, and it's a good time. But I do think that 40 hours in, when you've hit the max XP and you've grinded all things you can grind, and people have gotten really good and sweaty, then it might not be as fun. So that's why it's good to jump in the beginning when everybody sucks.
Yeah.
I do gotta say, maybe they're tapping into a market that is untapped. It's it's intense. It's it's not a horror game, but it's like slapstick. So it's it's more accessible. Do you say to just an average gamer who doesn't want to get scared?
Yeah, that and this is one of the first asymmetrical multiplayer games where they're actually letting the survivors fight back, which you're not powerless. You're not, you don't have to do stealth all the time. You can run and make noise, but you're not going to want to do that unless you have a weapon. Now, survivors can move faster than the clowns. So as the clowns have those big squeaky shoes and they're slower, but they're really powerful. I have killed a few clowns, but it's usually a last resort, and you want to just focus on getting out and sticking to the objective rather than just battling.
It's awesome. That sounds like a good time. We should definitely, you should stream, Dan. You should stream that one and give everyone a taste of it.
I should.
I really should.
I just need to get a new setup for my streaming thing. But yeah, no, it would be totally fun.
Yeah. No.
Nice.
But,
well, wait a minute. Why do you think I would hate it? Because I love asymmetrical. Well, I love Dead by Daylight.
I think you would be amused by it for one night. You would have a great time, and then the next day you'll be like, this game's old. I can't believe I paid $48 for it.
Oh my god, that's
a
really good impression of me. Wow, it's almost like you played a video of me talking. That was really impressive.
Yeah. So you would like it, then you'd hate the fact that you paid for it, and you know what? You're gonna love it when you get to play one weekend of it when it comes to Game Pass or something like that. That's when Malding will be happy.
Okay, sounds like a plan.
Nice. All right, so moving on, let's jump into the headlines of the week. First up, some exciting news for Dragon Age fans, which definitely right here.
Yes.
2 bits of news came out today, and then there's more footage and announcements coming on next week. So I believe on the 11th, so there's more to see. But BioWare posted on their blog 2 things I want to talk about here. First off, Dragon Age Dreadwolf has a new title, and they posted on their blog, they said, after Dragon Age Inquisition launched, the studio was given the incredible opportunity to explore, test, and validate a variety of gameplay concepts as we work to determine what the next Dragon Age could look like. We brought everything to the table, which, yes, even included a multiplayer concept, but the time we spent experimenting and iterating gradually taught us a lot. This work and amazing support from EA helped us to refocus on creating an incredible single-player game with all of the choices, characters, and world building that you would expect. They go on to kind of explain that the new name they didn't want to base so long story short, they didn't want to base the game on the Solus, the evil character, and that's where the name Dreadwolf came from, and they wanted to focus it more on the party that you will be building. You will get to, they said, there will be 7 unique characters that make up your companions, and you will have deep and compelling storylines where the decisions you will make will impact your relationships with them. So for all their creativity, it sounds like a Dragon Age game, which is a good thing. I really love my companions and learning about them and doing their quests and kind of bonding with them.
And doing them. Yeah, that was a lot of fun too.
Well, that's the second point. We're not getting there. Stay tuned after that one. We're
skipped ahead. My horny ass skipped ahead.
Yeah. Well, hold your horses, Molly.
Yeah. The point I'm getting here is the new title is Dragon Age: The Veilguard. How does that strike you?
No.
Yeah. I gotta say, it's like a coward. It sounds like a coward move to me. Like, I thought the first name is is striking. It's like, that sounds wild. I'm like intrigued. What could that even be? Even if it is negative because it's the antagonist sort of. It just, I don't know. Just between the two, Veilguard is a snooze.
Snooze.
I agree.
Total
bummer.
Snooze. Yeah.
Snooze. I wonder why. Like, there has to be more going on to by this. Do you think?
Meh.
Or is
Hopefully
it's just
not over as like a symptom of being over-engineered. They're tinkering with too much and just to be doing something. That's one thing that makes me nervous.
That definitely makes me nervous.
Okay,
it's giving the Marvel Agatha series, like where they're changing the name over and over and over again. It's giving that.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens because the reception really hasn't been too warm online. That's for sure. Okay, let's hop into the second piece of the news, though, that I thought was much more happier, and I'm curious to hear what you have to say about it. But this article comes from Kotaku, and it says, Dragon Age the Veilguard will bring back Dragon Age 2's divisive approach to romance. Dragon Age 2 is a big centerpiece in the conversations around video game romance. The 2011 BioWare RPG let players pursue whoever they wanted, regardless of what gender the player character chose. With Inquisition, the most recent one, BioWare opted to define your party's identities, which meant not every love story was accessible to anyone. While both games' approaches were met with a mix of praise and criticism, it seems BioWare is going back to the original Dragon Age 2 approach with the upcoming Dragon Age Veilguard, allowing you to romance any of your party. So, how does this strike you guys?
Yes. Let me have sex with all of the question is, can you have sex with all of them? Or are you just like, I mean, can I go from one of their rooms at the inn to another room at the inn on the same night? That's what I'm interested in. No, that's great. That's I mean, that's super. That's progress, baby.
I think give the people what they want. I don't see any issue with it. I mean, I wonder who was, like making the loudest noise in this debate. Is like, I wonder if it was like one way or another. I feel like this just kind of makes sense, and it's a video game, so you should be able to do what you want, and that's kind of how video games should work. It's just like, let's do whatever we please.
I agree. It's fantasy fulfillment. I think the problem was that bigots are saying, like, what you're doing is homogenizing everyone in the video game world and making them bisexual, because then they have to be able to please both sexes, and they didn't even touch on transgender people in their argument. But we'll get there. And so they're saying there's no canon in terms of sexuality and no realism. And that's something that happened in Cyberpunk. We saw characters as V progress through the world, man or woman, based on characters had certain sexuality. So if I was really attracted and wanted to romance some of the characters, well, I mean, honestly, as a gay man, I only had one choice. I had Carrie, the guy in the band. I couldn't romance anybody else in the, well, there was a hooker, but whatever. That was fun, but what's in the story that I was after?
It's like, I don't need real life. I want fantasy.
Yeah, exactly. So, and that sucked. And I can understand like people being homophobic and being like, hey, we want our characters to be defined and canon. But it's kind of like you were saying, Lord, it's like, look, this is wish fulfillment and fantasy. And I'm going to tell my story my way, and you can tell your story your way. And in your world, he can be straight as an arrow. That's completely fine.
If you don't want to romance the dude, don't romance the dude. And also, what's saying that there's a bunch of straight guys that don't want to romance the dudes? That's not. I'm sure that happens. They just don't talk about it.
In the last one, they had bull. You could do the part bull man.
Yeah.
Bull
Everyone
guys.
should be bull.
Yeah, I agree.
There we go.
Yeah,
I totally agree. I mean, it's a fantasy game. Like, come on, we can make this work,
right?
Just needless to say, though, that title change is making me nervous. So it could be all.
It's not the sexuality; it is the title change. You're right.
It really is the title change that is making me very nervous. It should be
called Dragon Age Orgy. That's what it should be. That's what they should name it.
Why are they beating around the bush now? Let's just.
I'm in.
Come on.
Yeah. I know my characters usually end up with sleeping with anybody if they can anyway, but in Dragon Age games, unfortunately, they make you lock it down before you get the sex scene. You have to be like committed to one person. So we'll see if they get rid of that. Anyway, moving on. Speaking of games that are on our radar and making us a little bit nervous with their choices, Matt, you had a story with Concord?
Yes. We mentioned Killer Klowns being $40. Well, guess what? Concord is confirmed to be $40. Now, they showed this game in the State of Play last week, and it was met with, I can't even say mixed reviews. Like, this thing got roasted.
I agree.
Like, Twitter went up in arms over this thing. They were just dismantling this thing, and I gotta say, after seeing that it was $40, my initial reaction is that is the actual kiss of death for this game. Like, I think there's some people that they're saying $40, you get everything. You're gonna get the maps, you're gonna get the characters, you're gonna have these little extra perks that you might not get from live from service. But in my opinion, not even in my opinion, I almost promise 6 months after this game's release, it's gonna go free to play.
100.
So-
you are right.
So it's like we're doing $40 now, but you just wait and it's going to be free to play. You don't even have to wait for it to go on sale. What do you guys think? Is this $40 blown out of proportion, or what are we thinking?
No, it's ridiculous. Its competition is all free. Marvel Rivals is going to be free to play. Overwatch 2 is free to play. All the Apex Legends free to play, and they're going to charge this, and I'm sure they're going to do battle passes for it too. So it's
For sure.
You're spending $40, and then they want you to spend another $20 a month for it. It's so bad. It's such not a good idea.
Unfortunately, this is kind of our fault in a way, because
Our fault? I didn't do anything.
Well, not yours, but it's probably
Oh.
Lord my fault, because
Yeah,
basically
that makes more sense.
they saw what Helldivers did and the success that
Yeah.
Helldivers was, and they think that they can replicate this. They are not reading the writing on the
No.
wall. They are not seeing this reception that this game is getting. And unfortunately, this game is only going to be on PlayStation, right? Is there a PC version?
That's just
so-
PS5 exclusive.
Ooh, yeah, those numbers aren't going to be super hot unless they do
No.
something to change it before it comes out, or this beta period, which I expect you Yahoos to jump into.
Yes.
Now,
I'm glad you
impresses.
touched on that. Imagine if PlayStation shadow dropped the beta right after the state of play instead of waiting until July to get our hands on it. Do you think that would change the
Wait,
trajectory
what
of
state
this
of
game?
play are you referring to? Because we just had that one.
Right. Yeah. The
Oh,
state of
if
play
they
last
had,
week.
yeah. If they had.
If they had.
Yeah.
If they had, do you think that would have changed the trajectory of this game, or would it still
I
be?
think it absolutely would have, because then
Yeah.
you see this game, you see, oh, it's not what I thought it was going to be. It's this 5v5 shooter. Now, hey, surprise, go play it now. I would have done it. Now, I don't want to do it.
Mhm.
I'm not interested in it, because
Everyone's
there's just
ruminating.
Yeah,
Everyone's just like on
exactly.
Twitter blasting it, and it's just not looking good.
you give
So-
nerds time to think about things, and man, it is
it's-
no good.
It's
Yeah,
no,
these games you need to strike while the iron's hot, and that's what X Defiant just did. And it had a pretty good launch. Well, it was a little bit rocky with the servers because so many people were jumping in. So Ubisoft, got that one relatively off of the ground. But like you said, molding like Apex Legends and everybody else, like they just put it out there and they're like, ready, go.
yeah.
Because you're playing it for free, and then you can say, hey, I played this game for free. Yeah, I'll spend $20 on a battle
Yeah.
pass.
It changes
Hey,
the narrative once you get your hands on.
completely. Yeah,
So
Yeah.
we'll see.
bad
Well,
move.
bad move.
Yeah, definitely. Well, speaking of news that isn't necessarily the greatest, Matt, Molding, you had a story on Call of Duty.
Yeah. So, oh my gosh. So, Call of Duty is celebrating Gay Pride Month, and
Which is awesome.
Which is awesome. We love that. Speaking as a couple gays here, and we love allyship from corporations. I kind of
Exactly.
wish it was all year long and not on a special month, but okay,
Yeah.
we take what we can get. So season 4 of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 and Warzone went live last week. So in addition to their new content they put out, they also rolled out some Pride cosmetics. And here Activision said on their website, Call of Duty is for everyone, and we're proud to celebrate Pride Month by offering 7 different weapon camo variants, each representing the colors of the different LGBTQ plus flags. Awesome. You put it on your weapon, you celebrate however you wish. Well, one of these is the trans flag. Awesome, great. Except there was a little glitch, and in one weapon there was just this slight glitch where the flag colors got transposed onto the bullets in a loading animation.
What a bug on a multiplayer game like this big? I've never heard of it.
I mean, it's just such a minor thing that I don't think you wouldn't even notice, but but awful people seem to notice. And one of those awful people that got a hold of it is this Libs of TikTok person who is just this awful woman, in my opinion,
And just
an
to be
awful
clear,
woman who it really thrives on. Yeah, be clear.
the libs of TikTok is a
What?
right-wing
Just to be clear?
account. Yeah, I think we're having a little lag here.
Absolutely. Yeah. So they took this narrative, and let me look at the exact words that she gave it here. Call of Duty is now enabling kids to role play being a literal trans terrorist. With the uptick in actual trans violence that we have been seeing, it's alarming that Call of Duty would introduce this. So it's just it makes me so angry that people fall for this sort of bait. It obviously is not trying to make it as if that you're being a trans terrorist. Not to mention, this game is a super violent game, so you're saying that you're playing normally as just a regular terrorist, and just this month you get to play as a trans terrorist. It's so silly. It's so stupid. It's so just rage bait. And it's got me. I'm angry about it now because she posted it. So I don't know. What do you guys think about this? Silly, right? Completely silly.
Very silly. Is it? So it wasn't on purpose that these bullets had the trans flag on it.
The flags are supposed to be transposed onto the weapons themselves.
Okay.
It just is in
Yeah.
this specific weapon. When you reload, the bullets have the trans flag on them.
That's so ridiculous because it's not like your bullets can't be gay. Your bullets can't be trans. It's just like bullet's a bullet. You know what I mean? Like,
and
this is
with
just
everything.
It's also feeding on this this right-wing narrative that a lot of mass shooters that have been happening are trans, which is false, completely made up. So it's just feeding off this rage to try to get people angry. And I just keep your hands off my video games. Just do it.
Yeah.
Just stop it.
Agreed.
I don't know. I'm sweating.
I mean, just like with
I'm
a
sweating.
game.
I'm so upset about it. Yeah.
And then you got a game like that has no Russian. It's like, what? It's like, I don't understand. Like the whole thing is just, yeah, you're right. It's still a Call of Duty game in the end. It's a violent game.
Yeah.
And they're doing something for Pride Month, which is, yeah, that's not a bad thing. And we're just now at this point, just, I don't know, blowing it up for some reason. Very strange.
Yep.
That is weird.
Boo on
that.
that.
I mean, I
But
agree. We all
gay on
say that
Call of
super
Duty
sucks.
celebrating.
I know.
Gay
I don't want to
pride.
even give it any more attention.
Yeah.
Agreed. Speaking of changing their message, PlayStation made an interesting change on the box for their PlayStation 5. Lord, you had this story.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So it has been noticed that the PS5 box, it has removed the 8K messaging that it's had since its launch. So essentially, like if you want to not even read between the lines at this point, it's like the system has been caught in some sort of actual lie where this thing is not capable of 8K as it is claimed to have for essentially its entire lifespan, and they've removed it. There's no more 8K. And it's just like, the only thing I think of is just like, is it time to admit that this PS5 has just been like a fail? And is this the icing on the cake?
Oh,
Wait, Molding, I didn't cut you off too early on that other one, right? Because I know you were fired up and passionate about it. Okay.
Oh, no.
All right. All right. Just want to make those sure, because I totally respect your opinion and agree.
But now I'm fired up about this because how is this not a fraud? And are there any repercussions from this? From them saying that this system can do something that it actually can't? Like nothing.
Mean, I'm assuming there's got to be like a good old-fashioned class action heading this way, because you don't just do something like this. And people have pointed out in the past that this system cannot do 8K as it claims on the box. So it Sony, I think, has heard and is like, we need to fix something with our messaging here. We cannot display 8K any longer, or allegedly. We don't fully know. And all the latest system boxes do not have this 8K.
Well, yeah, just to clarify, you're right, they cannot, but they are quote unquote currently working on a software update to eventually allow 8K.
Okay.
So, like, I think that they kind of overpromised and underdelivered on this one, and then once they realized their mistake, we're just like, just kind of picked it right off the box there.
They just had somebody in there, just like, with cleaner, just getting it erased. I'm just, I don't know. For me, I just feel like I'm fed up with this console. Like, I hate to say it, there's just nothing good coming from this console for me. I mean, it's great, it loads fast. We got Astrobot.
Which is supposed to be $70. I just read.
Is gonna be
it's gonna be awesome.
It's crazy. Like, I just don't think there's been nothing like I've fully looked forward to. I could have just played my Series S happily this generation.
No, I know Sony is known for their single player narratives. Where are they? I mean, Last of Us 2, freaking fantastic. That was probably my favorite narrative game of all time currently right now. But now what? Now we're just left waiting. Right. This generation's definitely been lackluster for them, and they're
so ugly. It's ugly and it doesn't fit in my console.
No.
Stuff.
Yeah.
It's super ugly in the way that, like, I guess sneakers can be ugly and still are kind of cool. This one's just ugly.
Yeah. It's just like, how can it bounce back? It's over here erasing stuff off its box, like.
Yeah.
And it's nearing its end of life. Like, I don't know.
And we have games that are still struggling to hit 4K 60.
Right. So
it's 8K over there.
No.
That's wild.
So I had a vent on that one.
No, agreed and justified. Moving on, though, to some better news. It sounds like, Malding, you had an update regarding CD Projekt Red.
So it's not so much an update. I guess it's an update. But I thought it was very interesting for one specific reason. So CD Projekt Red has now moved all of their staff onto Witcher 4, which is awesome. Everyone loved Witcher 3 and super pumped for it. But that just means there's no more Cyberpunk. Sorry, I should have been more specific. Moved all their staff off Cyberpunk onto Witcher 4. And this caught me because Cyberpunk in the Game Awards won the award for ongoing game. And it is not for that caught me then for being like, wait a second, this isn't an ongoing game. You just put out a great update for it, which is awesome. And they put out a DLC for it, which has been universally praised as being a fantastic DLC. Idris Elba looks fantastic in it. But how is this an ongoing game? And now there's no one even working on it. So it's not an ongoing game. That was my big.
They should take back the award.
Yes,
take
back the award.
Talk to Sony. Erase that 8K.
They released a game that wasn't finished, and they're getting credit for it. That's what I saw, and that pissed me off. I'm like, you know what? You Game Awards people don't get it.
Jeff Keighley, who we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about this weekend when the show comes up. We're going to have an
that's a
extra
great reminder. We were supposed to mention that at the top of the show, that we're going to have special episodes this Sunday where we're covering both the Summer Game Show and the Xbox game event this Sunday. So, and we'll try and get that content up as soon as possible, whether it's Sunday night or Monday morning. You'll have to wait and see, but we're definitely doing some extra special content, so please tune into that.
Yep.
Nice.
And I mean, I gotta say, just being such a Witcher 3 fan, my expectations are very high for The Witcher 4. So I'm hoping this is just nothing but this is positive news. Like, let's bring over the talent to the unreleased game now and make it a complete blockbuster. So let's make it happen.
I wasn't here for Cyberpunk, but Witcher 3 is probably one of my favorite all-time games. It's way up there, so I'm more than hyped for Witcher 4.
Absolutely.
All right, moving on. Looks like timing. We should probably get directly into our viewer emails. So, Lord? Well, hold on. Very important. Very important.
Oh yeah.
So, Lord, you have the first viewer email
Oh yeah. So
or discussion topic.
this email comes from Big Steve in Los Angeles. And he says, what is something that players do in online games that drives you crazy?
Mm-hmm.
And,
That's a great
Malding, why don't you...
question.
Yeah, it's a great question.
Malding.
Malding, kick us off.
So my very first one is misogyny. Misogyny.
Yeah, well, racism and misogyny are just like boring. Like, they're not cool.
Correct.
They're not. They're so
Not
annoying.
fun.
They're just
Specifically
loser
this one, and I'll tell you why. Growing up, if you would have told me girls played video games, I would have been shocked because no girls ever played video games. And I think that is fantastic. I love when I hear a woman's voice playing a video game. It makes me really happy. And I can't imagine being someone who would ever think, oh, that would ever give any sort of misogynistic comments towards women. I watched a video the other week that showed what this woman had to deal with when she was killing dudes in, I think it was like it was a shooter game. I don't think it was Call of Duty. It was one of those type of games. And the men on the chat were relentless to her. I wanted to cry on her behalf because it was so awful. And she handled it just like she just took it. Well, she took it as she was killing these dudes, which was awesome to watch. That she was just sniping them right out of existence, which I love to see. But it just made me really sad to think that that women have to deal with this type of thing all the time. You hear it on Overwatch. You hear it when you play games. Just people being really awful to women, and that is one of my biggest pet peeves.
Overwatch especially, and I would say 80% of the time, the women I play with are all better than me anyway.
Absolutely.
So, they're always like really good.
Yep.
Crazy.
Yeah. So that drives me nuts. Dan, what about you?
Yeah.
Are we doing two each? Is that what we're doing here?
I think just one. So
sorry.
Malding, why don't you?
Yeah.
Oh, was that
Continue
it?
on, Mulder.
Oh, well, I mean, and then my other one is people who leave comp in Overwatch. That's my other one. Like, that is,
so
it
rude.
just really ruins it for everyone playing the game. You depend on having a 5v5 team, and when someone leaves in comp and leaves you with a 4v5, you're an automatic loss. And sometimes it happens because you just get disconnected. I understand. But sometimes people will rage quit. And if you rage quit a game, you're just screwing your entire team. And Overwatch has this awful system where the player doesn't get replaced, and you still lose the same amount of points you would if you had a full team if someone lost. So it just really sucks. Don't leave your game. Just stay in, play your game, do the best you can, tough it out. Maybe you win. One time we did win, so sometimes it happens. That drives me nuts. Dan, what drives you nuts?
All right. So when thinking of these, I looked at all of your answers, and so I agree with all of this stuff. Like the homophobia, racism, all that sort of stuff. Definitely, there's no place for it when you're trying to relax and have fun, and you're being verbally assaulted in your own living room. But speaking of assaults,
not when I should be verbally assaulting you.
Yeah, exactly. I was about to say,
that's my job.
I have a tendency to play with people, and one of my biggest pet peeves are people that drink Diet Pepsi and eat barbecued potato chips in my ear, and don't mute their microphone. Specifically, Lay's brand barbecued potato chips and Diet Pepsi.
It's true. It's true.
Huh,
they're delicious.
Doesn't sound like anyone we might know.
I'm kidding about that one. I couldn't resist because you truly do eat my ear outlet, which is perfectly fine. I don't care. It's perfectly fine.
Wait, is that why you never invite me to play multiplayer games? Is it my Diet Pepsi and barbecue potato chips addiction?
Might have something to do with it.
I have to say, honestly, though, my one, and this might just be me and my bad luck, but I have a tendency to get into parties, especially in these big group games that have 10 or more people, and people don't change the batteries in their fire alarms, and I can hear them beep coming through the microphone, and I'm like, are you effing kidding me? It's not even in my own house. And I will get on there and I'll tell them like, hey, change your battery or whatever your fire, like that's a fire hazard, you're gonna kill yourself.
Yeah,
but they don't
like-
care, and they just are completely stupid. And it's like, how can you subject everybody else to that noise just because you're an effing idiot? So it's
How can
fire
you
alarms
endure
for
it
me.
on your? That's crazy. Man,
or people who are listening to music, and
music,
stuff
or their
while
fan.
they play. Yeah,
their air conditioner.
Yeah.
I feel very
I'm coming for you.
attacked by it. I feel very attacked by this.
I'm coming for you on this episode.
Yeah.
This is the best question. This turned out to be the best question we've had all
Oh my
year.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, Lord.
this one, this one was an easy one for me because cheaters are my biggest just head scratcher. Like, if you're going to be cheating in an online multiplayer game, just quit. You're not good enough. You like, just stop playing the game. You need to pick up knitting and just sit in a quiet room. You cannot be online fighting against, playing, just completely ruining everybody's time. But in my opinion, it doesn't ruin anybody's time. All it does to me is reflect on that you are just like not good at this game 100%. And you are just like, it's just such a weird, not
How
even
can you
a
feel
flex.
good about yourself when that happens?
Yeah.
Like, you don't feel like a winner unless you really earned it.
Exactly. It's like there's no gratification at all. Like, I don't know. I really like, there needs to be like, I think a psychological, maybe there needs to be like a test that needs to happen, like a big like sample size, and just like, why would you cheat? I don't understand. So that is really easily my my biggest pet peeve in online games. So
Good stuff, or not good stuff. But on that note, we need to start to wrap things up. Please make sure you're subscribed to our socials, and on YouTube, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget, we have 2 special episodes coming your this way, Sunday, if not Monday morning, depending on the Xbox showcase, as well as the Summer Games Fest. Lots of great content headed your way. Other than that, on behalf of the Good Playing crew, Matt Lord, Matt Moulding, and myself, Dan Whitehill, have a great weekend. And as always, good playing with you.
good playing with
Playing with you.